Welcome to the Soulful Valley podcast, the sanctuary for soul-led entrepreneurs, creatives, and changemakers ready to rise. I'm your host, Katie Carey, best-selling author, book collaboration mentor, publisher, and energy alchemist, here to help you tune into your truth, amplify your voice, and align with the frequency of miracles. Each week, we dive into soulful conversations, transformational journeys, and the energies that shape our lives and businesses. It's time to evolve on purpose, because the world needs your light, your words, your legacy. Let's begin. Are you ready to share your soul's truth with the world? We're calling in writers, mystics, and visionaries for 2 transformational book collaborations. Soulful Poems Volume 4 for the poetic voices of this new era, and Evolving on Purpose, Angels, Spirit Guides, and the Frequency of Miracles for those guided by the unseen. Your words have the power to heal, uplift, and ripple across the world. And if you've ever dreamed of being part of something bigger, we invite you to watch the trailers for our international award-winning movie and join our Zero Limits community on Facebook, where we're celebrating global premieres, backstage magic, and preparing for the big launch on Amazon Prime and Apple TV later this year. Check the show notes now to join the movement. Your miracle moment is waiting.
You gotta love yourself with all your heart. If you don't already, it's time to start. 'Cause nothing's gonna work out until you do.
In 2024, Dominique was diagnosed with breast cancer for the second time. What was the universe trying to communicate to her? Choosing to see this journey as an opportunity allowed her to reconnect with herself in a way she had never experienced before. Through this healing, she released outdated beliefs which have now allowed her to fully express her truth through poetry, art, and writing, embracing a new belief that anything is truly possible. Hello, and welcome to the Soulful Valley podcast, Dominique Truman.
Thanks very much. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so excited to actually meet you, Dominique, because you have actually been on this podcast before, but not in an interview. So you were one of the poets in Soulful Poems that we released at the end of last year. And you wrote a couple of poems for us, but you also created a short video reel, and we put the audio on the podcast in a Soulful Poems episode. So if you haven't listened to that, go and listen to that after this episode. But Dominique, I loved your poems. You're an amazing poem, and the delivery of your videos was really quite powerful as well, bringing through poetry.
A long time, actually, from when I was quite young, I wrote like songs and things, and it was a way of expressing my sort of feelings, because I was quite a shy child, and being able to like get my feelings out on paper was quite an easy way for me to do that, as opposed to actually speaking and expressing it. And as time's gone on, I've written poems here and there and written them in books, and then I come across them and I'm like, oh gosh, yeah, that's right, I wrote that one. But I have been a bit more intentional in the last sort of year or two with writing my poems and sort of collating them together. And then obviously I got the opportunity as well with Soulful Poems, which was just an incredible opportunity. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I'll just pop that there so you can see it now, and that's a hardback. It's funny that you mentioned that you started out songwriting, because that's how I started out as a child.
Interesting. Okay.
And then later on in older life, the poems started flowing through, but they weren't coming in with choruses and bridges the way the songs did. So, although I think that they could be adapted into songs eventually, I think watch this space.
Yeah, you've got a great voice, by the way. I've heard you sing, and it's like, oh my gosh, incredible. Yeah, you're so talented.
Thank you. Dominique, when you wrote to me about being a guest on the show, I asked you what you would like to speak about, and you've said that living a life with zero limits begins by peeling away the layers of belief system. So could you share with us what some of those old beliefs were and what started the process of letting them go?
Yeah, so gosh, I have been looking at my beliefs. It's been quite interesting actually, just seeing all the patterns and the sort of subconscious beliefs that sort of sit there that you don't even know about. So a lot of them for me are I'm not good enough, I'm unworthy, I'm unlovable, I I don't do enough, I'm not enough. Very much along those sort of lines. When I sort of really analyze and look at, I use a technique and I look at it. That is, this seems to be the repeating pattern. And you know, when I saw it on paper, I thought, my goodness, you know, this is what's really driving me underneath it all. I might put on this act like I'm a really good actress because it's like I pretend to be this certain person, but actually underneath it all, that's what's driving me. And what started me on that path, well, actually, I've been on this path for probably a lot of my life, always feeling like there was something not quite right, wanting to change myself constantly. But again, that fed back into the belief systems. And then coming to the realization that actually my true self is enough. My true self is worthy. And being able to differentiate between my true self and the ego mind identity, that has really got me to see who I really am. And what really kickstarted this process was last year when I was diagnosed with breast cancer for the second time, believe it or not. And it really got me going deep within because it's like, okay, I've created this now for a second time. What is it that I'm not really understanding? Or, you know, have I not connected to myself, my true self? And it's like that remembering who I really am, something I've wanted to do for a long time. And I've just had this amazing opportunity this last year to be able to do that. And yeah, that's sort of how it's sort of eventuated and come about.
Thanks for sharing that. That's quite deeply personal. And I think that a lot of us have those patterns going on underneath. And what I've come to realize, I've noticed that with my own health, because because I became disabled with all of the patterns that were going on with me and all of the toxic relationships, that that toxicity has to come out in, and that's how it's come out for you. I think it's come out that way. It's
Absolutely.
released in the illness, and then you're in a position to let that go and heal all of that and move beyond that. That's how I feel it came to me for a reason. It sort of slowed me down enough for me to pay attention, because maybe
Mm,
before we were moving so quickly, the especially women, we're always on the go, aren't we, multitasking and doing all of the things. And it's like, for me, it's like the universe made me slow down and pay attention.
absolutely. And it's funny you should say that because last year, before the diagnosis, I actually had a concussion.
Right.
And I was not able to work. It was like, okay, the universe or my higher self was like, right, we need to knock this girl out of play and get her to stop. And so that was the first thing that happened to me. And I couldn't work. I couldn't go on screens. It was just like too much sensory overload. And then a couple of weeks later, I got the diagnosis, and it's just set me on this path of exactly what you said, slowing down,
Mm.
taking me away from my reality that I'd created for myself, and then enabling me to just really get in touch with who I am and what do I want, and you know, how do I want to be in this world, instead of doing what I think I should do and
Yeah,
being who I think I should be. Mm.
absolutely. Your breast cancer journey sounds incredibly transformative. What did going inwards during that time reveal to you about how you were living before, and what shifted?
Yeah, so it showed me that I was living my life without being very deliberate, without really creating what I wanted to create. I was in survival mode. I was just nonstop, just going with the motions, accepting what was thrown at me, putting out a lot of energy out into this world, um, giving a lot to others and not actually giving to myself, taking on a huge amount of responsibility, which seems to be a pattern of my life. Like I've sort of taken on responsibility for other people. Like I had a daughter when I was really young, 17. I've been a single mum for a majority of that time. Had another child, broke up with his dad, single mum again. And those sort of things, it's almost like I'm doing everything for everyone else, but not for myself. And so that was just something that I was just not living my life in a very healthy way for me. And yeah, the journey itself has just got me to really reevaluate what's important in life, because quite often the things you think are important before something like this happens, when something happens to you like this, they don't become important at all. My work was, I sort of defined myself by my work. And then when this happened, I couldn't give two hoots about my work. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is the least important thing. What's important is my friends, my family, first and foremost, my family, my friends who I have created as family, because quite often that's, what happens with really close friends, they become your family. And just the people that are really close to me. And that's what, and also living my life in a joyful way, creating, expressing, being authentic, speaking my truth. That's something that's become really important to me, because I was not being authentic before. I was a people pleaser. And like, just, when I think back, I'm like, gosh, I was a people pleaser because I didn't want to be rejected, didn't want to be abandoned, didn't want to relive any of those things that I felt when I was young. So then I sort of projected this other identity, and then it became just this terrible toxic pattern. And I strongly believe it created the illness, it created the cancer, because it's constantly nurturing others, giving to others, but not actually giving to myself.
I totally resonate with that, because I'm a recovering chronic people pleaser. I ran a charity for 7 years when I had lots of stuff going in my own life that maybe I should have been more focused on, and I ended up, trying to save everyone else. So I've totally been there, and I think a lot of us do that. I don't think this is a minority. I think, many people live like this, and that's why it's important to bring these stories to the podcast as well, because then that what's going on, and that you're not alone, and you can move beyond that. Just because that's the way it's always been doesn't mean that has to be the way it continues. And some of us are living, breathing proof of that. So
yes, absolutely. Recovering people pleasers.
You can recover. You can start to please yourself.
Oh dear. Yeah, you're so right. I actually believe that a lot of people, especially women in particular, are, chronic people pleasers.
Well, we're balancing everything as well, aren't we? We're trying to balance the doing it all and having it all that society puts out there for us, trying to juggle all the things and keep everyone happy, but we lose our own identities, as you said, and we forget who we were before all of this. We forget our own magic. Well, we forgot that we were those songwriters as children. For me, I cut off that for years. I didn't do that for a long time, and then suddenly in my mid-50s, it starts to flow out again once I've decided to love myself. And I think that's how your gifts will come out eventually, if you start to slow down and remember who you are and what you're capable of.
Absolutely. Love that. Yeah.
So you mentioned reconnecting with family. Can you talk about what that healing looked like and why it felt like an important part of living more fully?
Yeah, absolutely. So part of my identity was created when I was younger. So I had a couple of experiences with my mum. So my mum suffered from manic depression, which is now known as bipolar. And for a couple of times during my life, she did try and take her own life. And one of those times was I was 7. And it was just a very tough time for me to experience that. And I took on a lot of blame and I took on a lot of shame. I felt like I should have done more. I am quite intuitive, so I knew that it wasn't something wasn't right, and so I think I just then internalized that and just took again that sense of responsibility. Like I should have done something. I should have done more. And I did feel quite abandoned. I thought, how can you do that to me? Like, don't you want to be around me anymore? You just want to leave me by myself? And then, so that then I took on all those sort of beliefs, not being good enough, not being able to do enough, not feeling capable, not being lovable. And I took those on throughout my life. And then that became my blueprint. And so then that drove me to just be a high achiever, one of those A-type personalities, just always wanting to do more, giving 120% all the time. And it just flowed into every aspect and every area of my life. So then what happened recently, I reconnected with my mum throughout this experience, and I reached out to her, and because I felt a sense of like, if something was going to happen to me, I really wanted to mend the brokenness of my relationship with my mum, because I had kept her at bay for many, many years. And that was compounded by the fact that she had a very abusive partner who didn't like me. So then every time I'd ring, I would just get abuse down the phone. So it meant that I just kept everything at bay. I just thought, no, I can't continue this relationship. But I did want that when I was going through the initial diagnosis, because I thought, I didn't know if I was going to make it or not, especially in the early days. You just don't know until you actually get some formal actual diagnosis. And so you get a lot of things running through your head. And one of the things I wanted my mum. And what happened then earlier this year, her partner passed away, and she struggled a lot. So I went over to Australia. She's based in Australia. I went over to be with her, just to spend some time with her. And I came back to New Zealand a couple of weeks later, and she actually took another overdose. And I immediately went back to Australia. I was sitting by her bedside in the hospital, and it was like my whole life had come like full circle. Because when I was a 7-year-old child, I was sitting on her bedside looking at her with the tubes, all that stuff coming out. And I just remember just that horrible sense of, oh my gosh, this is my mum. And so having the opportunity to sit there again as an adult, it gave me a lot of reconciliation, and it gave me a lot of healing, because I realized that nothing I could have done was going to stop what she chose to do. And it was incredible. It was an incredible moment of healing, because all this old stuff just came off me, like all the blame, the shame, the guilt, all of that. I just suddenly had this massive realization that it wasn't my fault. And, that in itself was it was incredible. It was an incredible experience. And then to be able to be there for my mum now, without feeling a sense of obligation, without feeling like, oh my gosh, I've got to do this, or I've got to be there. I want to be. It's given me a sense of, I'm very compassionate now, and I want to build that relationship. And I do think that also the breast cancer was connected to that, because it was like I disconnected from a very young age from my mum. And the breast is all about nurturing, and it was on the right side of it was my right breast, and that's all the masculine. I was very masculine, very driven, very push all the time. And reconnecting again to my mum, I feel like it's more nurturing. It's that sort of more gentle, the feminine side. And so it's all tied in, it's all connected, and it's just been an incredible experience this past year for me, because so many different things have happened, and that reconnection to my mum, I think, is pretty profound.
I really appreciate this share, because you've just brought up something there when we were talking about responsibility for us, because I had similar experiences with my father as a child. He was undiagnosed, severely mentally ill, I realize now, and he was an alcoholic. And so from an early age, I started to want to save him and to think that, it was up to me to, this is this is where it started. I wanted to be a Hollywood movie star because I thought that was how I was going to save them, with money. And
Yeah.
these things start really early, and you carry them through, don't you, onto your adult relationships. And even in my second marriage, I attracted someone with similar issues. So there I was again, trying to save him, then creating a charity to help him, and then try and save everyone else connected to the charity. And it's just, we've onboarded those beliefs as small children, that it's our responsibility to save everybody. And until you come to that realization that that's what you've been doing, it is difficult to change those patterns. But once you see it, you can't unsee it, which is why we're both where we are now, thankfully.
Absolutely. It's so true. And yeah, I totally relate. And it's funny, like you say about the relationship, I also created relationships with men who were very similar to my mum, and they needed me in a way. And it's like, and I was the responsible one, and I was the one to help them, and just, oh gosh, even my jobs, it's like jobs where I have to help people, and it's really interesting. And then when you see it, it's like, oh my goodness, that's actually quite tiring.
Yeah, and it's impossible as well.
It is impossible, and
We've set ourselves up for an impossible task.
Yeah, that's right. And everyone's responsible for themselves, and that's something that I've realized, especially over the last month or two. It's like we're all responsible for our own self, and I wasn't taking responsibility for myself. I was choosing to take responsibility for everybody else around me, so that I could almost not take responsibility for myself, and also the things I wanted to do, and the success I wanted in the world. And it was almost like, in some ways, it was a bit of a scapegoat, so that I didn't have to,
look within. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
So many people wait for a wake-up call, a bit like we've just been talking about, to start living with more presence and purpose. What would you say to someone who hasn't had one, but knows deep down they're not truly living?
I would say, don't wait. Don't wait for the wake-up call. It's you know, it's tough when you are faced with something like that, because you're, in some respects, your life does flash before you, and it did for me. It was almost like, oh my gosh, what have I done with my life? Like, I feel like I've wasted my life doing the things that I don't really want to be doing, and the things that I'm not really interested in. And now time might be running out. And so and the thing is, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. We
No.
do not know whether or not how much time we've got left. So why wait? Why wait for something to happen to give you a kick up the backside, when you could actually be doing it right now? You could be living your life to your fullest, like in alignment with the truth of who you are, right here, right now. Because the thing is, there's no future, there's no past. We've just got the present moment. And so many people say that, the gurus say that, and it is true. We've only got right now. So why not tap into what you really want to be doing, and the gifts that you came into this world, because those gifts can actually impact other people on so many levels, more than you even realize. And then when you start living that way, it almost like gives other people permission and inspiration to live their life. And so that's going to have a beautiful flow-on effect to everyone in the world. And I just think, energy is contagious. And if you can start living authentically and tap into that zero limits, that place of zero limits, which is just, it's like, wow, we can do it so easily as children. When you can start tapping into that, the world is your oyster. And that has such a flow-on effect, because it's all about vibration. And it's it's a beautiful place to be. And I just think it's not just about ourselves, it's about the people around us as well.
Absolutely. What does living like today could be your last look like in your everyday life now? How do you keep that perspective without feeling overwhelmed?
I think it's about living authentically. To me, it's about living authentically. It's saying what you want to say. It's not holding back. It's sometimes, we might be scared to sort of speak our truth. It's about doing it. It's about just taking action. I know that sounds blooming cliche, but it's so true. It's just actually doing the things that you really want to do. It's bringing joy into your life. It doesn't have to be massive. It could just be that small things that bring you joy and enable you to connect to your soul, and to just, not don't wait. Just don't wait. Do If you want to jump out of a plane, jump out of a plane. If you want to create that piece of artwork, create it. If you want to be in a book, contact Katie. You it's like it's just doing, and it doesn't even have to be like in an overwhelming sense. It's just starting off small. Just do some of the things that you really want to do, and don't hold back. Listen to the inner guidance. Maybe spend a day, give yourself a day a week where you just follow your inner guidance. What do I really want to do today? And just allow that to sort of creep into your life more and more and more. And before you know it, you will be living a life on your terms and doing what you want to do instead of doing what you think you should be doing.
And you can lean back and lean into these things that you enjoy doing,
Mm.
releasing the guilt and the shame. Because I think I found as well, one of those patterns was with the conditions that I've got, I need to sleep a lot. And around that comes this thing of I'm being lazy, or the people are looking at me like I'm lazy. And you really need to move beyond that, because that is just one of those other programs that have been pushed into us since we were children. And if you need to take time out to take care of yourself, whether that's a nap, whether that's to sit in the sunshine every time it's out. It's not out very often here, but it's been out a bit more recently. Just the simple things in life. It doesn't have to be anything as major as writing a book either, does it? It's just the really tiny things. Go and have a nice salt bath because it'll make you feel better. Just the tiniest things. And
Definitely.
connecting with the people that you love. So, pop in a message to people that you care about, so that they,
Mm.
you both remember each other, because life gets so busy and we do have really tough things going on in our lives with people that are ill, and
Yeah.
things can get complicated, and you can forget as well. You can end up in a bubble with all of the stuff that you've got going on, forgetting that there are people out there that do care about you and would help you. So being open
Mm.
to that connection can be really helpful in difficult times like this.
Definitely.
You said something powerful, that nothing is beyond our reach. Where do you feel that truth the most in your life right now?
Yeah, I feel it in the area of creativity for me. I've always been a creative being. I just love creating stuff. And I feel it's sort of creativity, and also what I'm here to do in my life. I feel as though it's right there. It's never felt so close in my life before, and I think it's because I have cleaved away at that old self and really being able to see the ego for what it really is, and then the truth of who I am. And it's like, whoa, it's so close. And yeah, I've never experienced it like this. It's like I feel like anything that I want is now within reach. It's all I need to do is put my attention on it and
Mm.
create those intentions around it. And I suppose also career wise as well, I've always just gone along with almost the jobs that have just been there instead of really creating, really being deliberate, like I said a bit earlier, really deliberate about what it is I want to create. What do I want for myself? Being really clear, and then allowing it in, receiving it. I was not very good at receiving previously because I was the giver. So
Yeah, same.
it's like there's an art to receiving. So so yeah, it's an interesting. Yeah, it's really interesting. But it's almost like I can feel things now, whereas before I was quite shut off to things, and I felt like they were just really beyond my reach. But it's like I feel it's like it's so close. Yeah, it's really nice, a nice place to be.
Beautiful. I think as well, when we take on jobs, I've had some jobs that I've really loved and some jobs I've really hated, but the ones that I've not enjoyed have been the ones where I haven't been able to express creatively within that. So when I've had a role where it's really, there's lots of different, a variety of creative things going on, I mean, sometimes I've ended up creating more work for myself in jobs because I've wanted those creative elements. So I've
Yes.
built myself a bigger job, but I've loved it. And then when you're in a job that stifles that creativity and keeps you in a box, it's really uncomfortable. So even if you're stuck in a position like that right now, try and make it a little bit more fun and add your own
Absolutely.
spin
Add your
to
own yeah, add your own
it.
flair, and it's just like, oh, how about this and how about that? And yeah, like I really love writing. Surprise, surprise. Um, and so what I found is with my job that I have, I would always love the emails, and if it was like quite a complicated email, I'd love it because it'd be like, oh yeah, I can really get stuck into this. And it was yeah, I noticed that it's like the writing side, I just loved it, and also the speaking side. Even though I used to be very scared to speak, I loved the presentations and things like that, and it was just quite nice to really like express myself
Yeah,
and
because you
help
can
people too.
turn it into a bit of a show, can't you?
I know, and like when I noticed that whenever I would present, the jokes would just come from nowhere. I would just like start saying all these jokes, and I'm like, wow, where did that come from? And it was just like in that flow state.
Yeah,
And
you were tapping into the field of zero limits.
yeah, it was awesome. And it's like, whoa, that was pretty good. I could be a comedian.
uh, Dominique, you spoke about answers lying within. How do you personally access that inner guidance? Are there any practices that help you stay connected to your truth?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, I love writing. So I write to God. So I talk to God, and what I normally do is I used to be quite specific with my questions, but what I do now is I actually just write a really generic question, and just be like, what would you like to say today? Or what would you like to share with me today? And I just allow the guidance to come through, and I write it down, and I find that that's my way of like connecting. And yeah, it just flows through. It's quite incredible. And I've got a whole book of stuff that's just, and I just look back on it and think, gosh, it's really, wow, definitely wasn't coming from me. And so, yeah, that's how I often do it. And if I get stuck on something, another thing that I do is I just say, show me the next step. Or if I lose something, show me where it is. Or and I just allow myself to be guided to wherever I might need to go. So it's just tapping into that source, God, creator, whatever you want to call it, her, him, her, and also your higher self. And I sort of just go with the answers, whatever answers come, and like just trusting that whatever answer comes is the right answer at that point in time. And it's just tapping into the intuition. And so that's a practice that I do quite regularly. And I love it. I really do. I absolutely love the writing. I do that with my poems as well. So quite often I've actually tapped into source, God, creator, and just I'd like to write a poem on this, and then it just comes through. And it's a really nice way of being.
It's like magic, isn't it? Because I know I can just be watching somebody speaking about something that deeply moves me, and the one word triggers a poem, and I've got to quickly find a pen because it flows right through. And it is like magic, because you're not even having to think about about the rhyming and what rhymes with this and what rhymes with this. You haven't got to overthink it. It just flows through like magic. And
That's right.
that's because there is a deeper wisdom that we're connected to all the time. I mean, some people have said to me, "Oh, but that doesn't sound like me." No, but it's your deeper wisdom. It's like, it
Yeah,
is you.
it's amazing.
It's who you really are. But other people will look at it and think, "Well, that's not." No, you're tapping into the magic of who you are without all of the masks that the other people are seeing on a day-to-day
That's right.
basis. Yeah,
Exactly.
I've got a question now that I'm going to be asking everybody in this series. This series is about living life with zero limits. What does that phrase mean to you today? And what's one small but powerful thing our listeners could do to start living that way?
Yeah. So living with zero limits is letting go of all the limitations that you have placed on yourself through the experiences that you've had over the years, letting go of the old belief systems and tapping in to who you really are. And who you really are is so powerful that it cuts through this reality that we've created for ourselves. And it just, you tap into the potential, your potential possibilities. You tap into pretty much anything that you want to tap into. And it's living in that space is, I believe, is magic. And yet it is available to every single one of us if we can just let go of that old stuff that doesn't matter. I think the one thing that I've done is to really view like myself as just like an almost like an open book in a way, and be able to look at myself in a detached way. I'm not set in concrete. I'm not set in stone. My beliefs are not set in stone. I can change them should I want to. But it's being able to. I do an exercise. So I'm going to go back. The one thing I've done is I actually do an exercise where whenever I get triggered by something, I just keep writing down what's triggering me about that thing. And I just keep going down and down and down and down and down until something like pops. It's almost like you can feel the energy shift. And then you can see the patterns, you can see all the beliefs that come up. So oftentimes it's, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable. All these beliefs keep coming back around. And it's incredible because the more you do that, it's like the more you then start living from a really authentic place, which then enables you to live in that zero limit space. I've just been blown away by how impactful that exercise has been. And actually, that comes from a gentleman called RJ Spina. So I've been following his work, and his work is incredible. And I highly recommend it. It's just, it's been life changing for me, actually, just to see my patterns and just almost like disassociate from them, realize that's not me, that's just my experiences. Who am I? What do I want? Where do I want to be in this world? What do I want to create? And you just tap into that sense of potential, and that to me is what zero limits and living in a zero limit space is.
That's wonderful, thank you. And as you were speaking, then I was reminded by one of the questions that trigger us a lot when we're parents of young children, when they get to about 3 and they constantly ask why. And do you know, I think that's one of the best coaching questions you can ask yourself, because you go deeper and deeper with the why. So they already know how to do that from a really early age. And we get triggered by that, and there's a reason for that.
That's right. That's exactly right. Oh my gosh, I never thought of that. It's so true.
I mean, some of these things have come to me because I'm a grandparent now as well. So I've watched, obviously I've been through with my children growing up, and now I'm watching them and how blemmin' magical they are.
They are, and they can teach us so much.
Yeah. But we're so busy. We're so busy that we often miss those moments. And
that's right.
I think we should look more to the little people.
Oh, absolutely. I always say my son has been my biggest teacher, and he triggers me a lot. It's like, oh, great, this is great. And I see being triggered as a real opportunity. It's like, oh, I'm being triggered. I wonder what's going
Yeah.
on here.
What can I
And
clean up here?
yes, absolutely. And I'm like, whoa. It's almost like
What?
I'm going to the zero limit of myself. It's
Yeah.
that whole, it's like, whoa, going back to that, like that 0 point. And it's like so clear. And from that
Yeah.
space, you can just create whatever you want.
And once you start observing and recognizing, like we're all triggered, and often we make it about the person that we think is triggering us, but it's nothing to do with them at all.
Exactly. That's
So
right.
just
It's not.
take a look at yourself. Why are you triggered about the thing they're talking about, whether that be money or relationships? Even us speaking our truths on a podcast, some people will be triggered by us sharing so deeply our stories, particularly
Yes.
people that know us. So
Yes.
ask yourself why you're triggered about us speaking our truth. Why do you feel that we have to hide who we are? Because on some level you hide who you are and can't speak your truth. So there's so many deep layers to this that could really help people if they understood themselves a little bit more. So learn
Definitely.
to love themselves and know themselves and allow themselves to speak and express.
Absolutely.
Wow, where did that come from?
Your inner wisdom.
Thank you so much for your time, Dominique. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we leave?
Oh, I just want to say thank you for creating this platform. Thank you so much for allowing me to publish some poems. I think it's actually been one of the most incredible things that I've done, because it was something that I've always wanted to do for such a long time. So having the ability to do that in a collaborative way, it was such a fun experience. And also thanks for enabling me this opportunity as well on your podcast. It was another thing that I put out into the universe that I wanted to do.
And
so
you
it's like, yeah,
manifested it.
I know. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so great. And so, yeah, I'm really grateful. And I just want to also, I think, end on every experience that you have in your life is an opportunity to learn more about yourself. And quite often as humans, we see things as good or bad. It's very black or white. It's this or that. And actually, if we just see things as an opportunity for growth and expansion and going inwards, it's like everything then is just such a wonderful opportunity to know ourselves better. And that's something that's happened with me.
That helps us to interact with other people as well, doesn't it? Because it helps us to be more compassionate about what's going on for other people. That when they behave in certain ways, it's got nothing to do with us. It's what they're processing and dealing with, and it's part of their journey, and you can't fix them or save them, or you can just show up in the way that we show up. And as you said earlier, that gives other people the permission to show up too. They can see that we're doing it, so they'll do it. They'll look at themselves more, and they'll be more creative and do those things, not because you've told them to, but because they can see how you're doing it. So yeah, thanks for a great interview. Is there anywhere that people can find you if they want to connect with you?
Yes. So I am on Facebook. I think a lot of people are on Facebook. My name, just Dominique Truman. It's a unique name, and so it's easy to find. And yeah, so I'm mainly on Facebook. So
okay, I'll pop the link in the show notes.
Awesome. Thanks, Katie.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.
So ask yourself, is this for me? Give yourself some boundaries. Learn to trust your intuition now.
Hey beautiful soul, it's Katie here from Elevate Yoga and Wellness, and I wanted to touch base with you regarding my dear friend, Katie Carey. She is not only a wonder of a human being who has done absolutely everything she has set her mind to and made it look easy, may I just say, but she also, when you get to work with her, She is so calming and so encouraging, and it truly becomes a healing experience getting to write. Whether it's a single poem, whether it's a chapter in a book, or an entire book itself, working alongside Katie is an absolute dream. She helps the story that you're trying to tell just flow out with ease. I think I wrote my chapter in a total of 4 sittings before submitting it to editing. And honestly, I am over the moon grateful. I've actually recorded probably about 10 different videos now. And each single time I have struggled to come up with the words to describe Katie, to describe what it's like to work with her, and to describe what it's like becoming a #1 international best-selling author, because the words don't exist. There's nothing in the dictionary that I'm privy to, anyway, that accurately and fully encompasses what this experience is. So if you're contemplating publishing a poem, writing a chapter in a book, or even publishing an entire book, trust me when I say that working with Katie is absolutely the right move. I was privileged enough to get to write a chapter in Becoming the Manifesting Diva, Creating Ripples While You Flow, and honestly, I cannot wait to see what else becomes of this project, because once the project starts, it never fully stops evolving, and I love that. A little bit about myself. I am a Katie of all trades, in the sense that I'm not just an author. I'm also a yoga teacher. I am a wellness coach, and I belief clearing practitioner, and I honestly love collecting certifications. It's kind of my hobby. Some people like golfing. I like learning. So if you're into some of the woo-woo stuff, if you're into just feeling connected with another human being, or if you're considering writing an entire team of human beings, you're in the right place. If you are looking to get a hold of me, it's easy peasy. I'm on Facebook as Katie Goche or Elevate Yoga and Wellness. I'm also the Real Katie of All Trades on Instagram, and I can be found online at elevateyogawellness.ca. Thanks so much, friends. I hope you're having an amazing day. And again, Katie is the best. Mwah! Much love. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Soulful Valley podcast.